Hey, good evening, everyone. Wave 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle here. I thought we'd give you a little live update about what's going on and actually kind of talk about the lack of what's going on and how things may evolve as we take you through the rest of tonight. Again, we are under a 31 alert day. Expectation was for thunderstorm activity to come across North Alabama. All indications were that that was going to happen starting during the late evening hours. Well, we're kind of delayed a little bit. So just wanted to give you a brief update as to what's going on, what we're watching, how things may end up going the rest of tonight. We're not entirely in the clear yet, and there are still some possibilities and potential for seeing some severe weather as storms eventually work their way into the Tennessee Valley during the overnight hours. Thus far, everything has been basically to our north or, well, to our west. And I will say, if you do have some questions that I don't answer, and I don't have all the answers, to be quite honest, you can put those in the comments. But let's start you off with a look at radar. This is 31 triple Doppler right now. Not a whole lot happening. Got a little bit of shower and occasionally a rumble of thunder trying to pop here, Lincoln on into Franklin County, southern middle Tennessee. That's it. Bigger stuff is to the north, up towards Nashville. This is where we are seeing more significant storm activity ongoing right now. Slowly settling south through the Nashville area. So this is just south of downtown, the heavier stuff, north of Columbia, Tennessee, and then basically stretching back along that Interstate 40 corridor. None of this is severe warned at the moment around Nashville and points westward. You head east of town on 40. These are your severe thunderstorm warnings, again, traveling through that northern part of the state of Tennessee. So that's what's going on to the immediate north, and I'll put this into motion. You can kind of see what this is doing. It's mostly been moving east. It is trying to develop a little more to the south, but it's been a very, very slow process for that to happen. Now, we're also watching areas to the west. Move the map around here and show you what I'm talking about. Also pull up a bit more radar data for you so you can kind of see this. There's some big storms back here in northwest Mississippi near Batesville, back crossing the Mississippi on into eastern Arkansas. These are severe warned right now, still well away from us. Here's the Alabama border, so these would be still a few hours out from making it on in. They are generally tracking in an easterly direction, so if these kind of hold together, eventually they're going to make their way toward Tupelo and could end up working their way into parts of northwest Alabama before it's all said and done. So we're kind of watching a couple areas, what's happening to the north, what's happening out to the west. There's a gap in between. You can kind of see that here on the radar picture. We've got the big storms here, again, towards Batesville, Mississippi. We've got a line of storms packing a punch, again, along and north of that I-40 corridor. And then there's a gap here, one lone thunder shower on the northwest edge of Memphis, and that's it. And normally that's where we'd be watching in this sort of setup, the line filled in that gap and then headed in our direction. So there are some question marks as to how everything is going to end up unfolding as we take you through the rest of tonight. As it stands right now, these are your only watches. We've got a tornado watch that goes until 3 a.m., includes southern Tennessee, comes right up to the Alabama border. We've also got another tornado watch that covers West Tennessee, northern Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. That one goes until 2 a.m., again, comes right up to the state line. So nothing here in North Alabama currently included in any sort of weather watches. It's a waiting game, and it's a wait-and-see kind of game for us at the time being. Now, I have been looking at some of the newest data coming on in, and I don't know if it's updated here yet on our system, as it may not be fully in. But let's take a look here. So this is just one computer model. This is one that updates once an hour. So on severe weather days, I do like to use this one because we get a new update every single hour of the model. And if this is the latest run, I think it actually may be. So you can see here what it's doing. So it's picking up on the stuff here near Nashville. That's what you see at the top of the page. Not showing anything for North Alabama. It appeared this particular model run finally maybe has a handle on how things are evolving. So let's take you to 2 o'clock in the morning. There's the stuff from Nashville. A little bit more development coming south of I-40 with time. And then here's that activity that I showed you there in northwest Mississippi back towards Batesville. So picking up on it by 2 o'clock in the morning, some of that approaching the state line. Let me march you forward another hour or so. Here's 3 in the morning. It would appear that activity in Mississippi may become the dominant threat for some stronger storm action. The stuff that you see here building into southern Middle Tennessee, not quite as organized or as strong. And then eventually, take you to 4 in the morning. Maybe some heavier rain around Athens, Decatur, Huntsville. Stronger storm activity may find itself more from Coleman off to the south and to the west. Take you up to 5 in the morning. And at that point, again, some heavier rain here, Jackson, DeKalb County. Stronger storm action may be from Gadsden and back to the south of Haleyville. And I will say with this latest model update, it's the only one I've seen all evening that the beginning of the model run closely matches reality. So that's giving me a little bit of increased confidence as to how all this is going to go. It's not to say we will not get any severe weather somewhere in North Alabama overnight tonight, but it would appear that that'll be pretty limited in scope if this now is correct in what it is saying. And what we're mostly going to have to watch is that activity in northwest Mississippi. That is going to bring the threat for stronger thunderstorm activity as opposed to what is up towards Nashville. The other thing is it's late. So this is 5 o'clock in the morning. Probably be at that point in time that we can say, okay, we're done. We're done with this potential for any sort of severe weather out there. And it does look like rain will wrap up pretty early in the day on Saturday. Once we get past sunrise tomorrow, I think the rest of your Saturday is going to turn out to be pretty good. So there are some questions right now. Number one, how everything's going to evolve with what we currently have going on radar. There's not a lot happening right now. And I don't want to give anyone the all clear at this point because there's still that potential, especially for the stuff that is back in Mississippi, to make a run towards us, since that is mostly pushing its way off to the east. And it's still entirely possible that this line, which is starting to sag south to I-40, a little bit more into southern Middle Tennessee, may yet pose a threat as well for some severe weather. Although again, for the most part, most of this is building its way more east than it's dropping south at the time being. But again, watching back in northwest Mississippi. And if what I showed you there with future radar is correct, again, it has the best handle on reality, picking up this, picking up that, and also picking up on the gap in between. If that is correct and things continue to evolve the way that particular run of the model is suggesting, we may not have a whole lot that we're going to have to worry about overnight tonight. Still want to make sure that you do have a way, though, to get weather alerts. Want to let you know we're going to be here, keeping an eye on it. Will come what may out of this. We're going to be watching it. But again, there's nothing imminent right now in terms of a severe weather threat. And for many parts of the area, we still may be a couple hours out from that being something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. So let me kind of run through, just take a look here. We're live streaming in a couple places on my Facebook page, the Way 31 Facebook page, and also on the Way 31 YouTube channel. And before I get to that, I'm going to just do a quick check here. We're, of course, on these impactful or potentially impactful weather days. We're always in communication with the National Weather Service. Nothing new there. The last update we got from them was actually almost an hour ago, just saying, no current talk about any sort of watches being issued for North Alabama. So what we have currently in place with the 2 tornado watches, that's it for now, and that's the only thing that's being discussed for our immediate area. So, and I'm not, quick check there, I'm not seeing anything new. So let me kind of run through the comments and see what I can answer for you. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, Weather's going to do what it's going to do. I say that a lot. That's not an excuse. We know what we have going on in the atmosphere right now, ingredient-wise, what the storms decide to do with that. We don't always have that answer. We can only tell you potentially what could happen. So Bonnie's asking, are we going to go into a watch in North Alabama? I would say it's 50-50 at this point. Again, there's no talk of a watch in the immediate future. The storms here towards Nashville, and keep in mind there is already a watch that goes up to the state line. So we're covered here in Tennessee, regardless of what this activity to our north does. We're covered here in Mississippi because there's a tornado watch with whatever that activity back towards Batesville does. So at least in the near future, no watches are going to be coming out, I think, here for North Alabama. Again, the one to the north goes to 3, the one to the west goes to 2. So I'd say at this point, the earliest, we're at least an hour and a half away from any sort of decision being made if there's going to be a continued watch for our area. And I'd say at this point, it's really kind of a toss-up. I mean, if what I showed you with the one computer model, and I'll go through that again before we wrap up here, just kind of run you through that again. If what it is saying, and like I said, the beginning of the model kind of matches reality, and that's the first that I've seen that out of this model all evening, we may not have tons to worry about. So Bonnie, I wish I had a definitive answer for you about that. I would say, a lot of times these are decisions that are made to err on the side of caution. So there's probably a reasonably good chance that we will go under some sort of watch here in North Alabama. But again, right now, nothing is being discussed about that. Amanda's saying it's safe to go to bed. I leave that up to you. I always say, if you do go to bed, just make sure you have a way to get alerts. And Amanda, I'm not sure where you live, but yeah, if you think you're going to be up by the time it gets here, if it doesn't get to where you are by 3 or 4 in the morning, then yeah, you should be fine to get a few hours of sleep. Destiny wants to know about tornado for Northwest Alabama. We can't tell you that. I wish we could say, yes, there's going to be a tornado. It's going to hit here at this time. We can't tell you that. I would say the tornado threat overall is pretty low. What we have out here in Mississippi, that's been severe thunderstorm warned. The activity around Nashville, there have been no tornado warnings out of any of this. So the chance that we get a tornado, I think, is low. It's not zero. It's hardly ever zero, but I would think it would be pretty low. But always got to stay prepared, always got to stay aware. And yeah, and Bonnie, I hope I just answered that. Any tornadoes in the ones in Mississippi? No. I think there was a tornado warning in eastern Arkansas with this little cluster, but that has kind of come and gone. So what we got here in northwest Mississippi, these are severe thunderstorm warnings, likelihood of some large hail and some strong wind out of these. All right, so that's on my page. I'm going to check on the Way 31 page. Doing the same thing, just looking at the comments. And let's see what we got here. Sometimes Facebook works and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. Okay. Got the comments to load. Let me kind of run through those from the beginning. A couple asking about tornado potential, and just some people checking in from where they're watching from. And let's see, mostly here, folks just checking in. One last stop on YouTube. And just a reminder for those of you that are commenting and watching here on social media, we also are on YouTube, Way 31 YouTube channel. Post a lot of video there, and we typically go live there as well when we're live on other social media. All right, it doesn't look like, let's see. So I am on YouTube, so someone asked, Jeff, can you see this? And yes, I can. Airborne Animations asking that. Again, someone asking, are tornadoes possible? Possible, yes. Likelihood, low. Kristen asking, scrolling through and found you, what area are you broadcasting from? Kristen, we are in North Alabama, specifically based in Huntsville, in the Huntsville TV market that covers North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee. So this is where we are covering the weather from. All right, so let me just kind of, again, just break down. I'm not going to stay on here for a long period of time since we're not actively tracking weather in our coverage area at the moment, so we're not going to stay on live. But I did want to come on and give you a little update, because I know you're like me. I mean, I've been staring at the radar and monitoring the storms and monitoring it in other places. And I will say there has been significant severe weather in other parts of the country, which was expected. Unfortunately, getting reports of some deaths, St. Louis, some reports of some deaths in parts of Illinois, parts of Kentucky, and the damage is it's going to be a while to assess. There have been quite a few tornadoes, and unfortunately it looks like some of those have hit populated areas. So the news is not good out of Kentucky, parts of Illinois, parts of Missouri, even Indiana. All those areas have been hit pretty hard with tornado activity. Again, we're relatively spared here, getting closer to North Alabama. What we're tracking right now, again, this is 31 triple Doppler and looking at kind of all the radars kind of grouped together here in this general region. We've got a stout line of storms that's lined up basically along Interstate 40 in Tennessee, from Nashville and a little east, stretching back towards Jackson, Tennessee. Again, most of this activity has been primarily moving east. There's been a very, very slow drift to the south, not fast whatsoever. And at least at the moment, what you see here along I-40, there are no yellow boxes, which would be severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no red boxes, which would be tornado warnings. So at least at the moment, what we have going on here along the I-40 corridor to our north, none of that is severe. We are looking at some severe weather back here in northwest Mississippi. Those are some pretty nasty storms, very electrical near Batesville. Most of these are coming east as well, though with time, we may start to see these drift a little bit more to the south. So it's going to be a close call, especially if this cluster holds together, if it will impact us here in the northwest corner of the state, in the area that we cover, or maybe start to drift a little bit more just southwest of our area. So that remains to be seen. I do want to show you the model that I was talking about. Notice we've got the line here, we got the cluster of storms here, there's a break in between. In fact, that thunder shower that was, when I started this, there was a little thunder shower northwest side of Memphis. Looks like that's kind of fizzled on out. So there's something going on here between Jackson and Memphis where storm activity is not being supported. I-40 corridor, yes. Northwest Mississippi, yes. In between, something is suppressing storm activity. And let me run through this model again. This would be for you folks that maybe weren't on here at the onset. And this particular model, it's called the HRRR, stands for High Resolution Rapid Refresh. I like it on severe weather days. I mentioned this earlier because it updates every hour. Every hour we get a new model run. So this is doing a decent job, and if I showed you the bigger picture, you'd see what I was talking about. But there's your I-40 activity up towards Nashville. What you don't see is kind of off the screen here on the map. That's the stuff in northwest Mississippi. It's got it there as well. And you know what? We got time. Let me just kind of expand the map here for you, as I want to show you. It's important to see what the model is starting with and if that matches reality. And it does. It's got the band here along I-40. Doesn't quite take it as far west as Jackson as what we have in reality. But it's also picking up on this action in northwest Mississippi. It's got it slightly displaced northward from where it is. And then it has this gap in between. So this is pretty close to reality. And that's not always the case with these models. Sometimes you look at them and you look at the first frame and you're like, throw it out the window. It's already wrong. But this one is close to being right. So you saw it change there. Let me just do a quick little thing here so it doesn't do that. All right, let's kind of run you through it. Again, Future Radar, this run of this particular model, that's pretty close to what's actually going on. So that increases confidence that as we take this forward in time, maybe it has a good handle on how things are going to evolve. So here we go. Let's take you forward to around 2 in the morning. Stuff around I-40 continues to creep a little bit more to the south. But again, keep in mind, none of this is severe at the moment. This activity continues to come east towards Tupelo. This is through 2 o'clock in the morning. And then that finally enters northwest Alabama between 2 and 3. Line here towards I-40, again, slowly sags southward. Doesn't get any more organized than it is now. In fact, maybe even less organized. So I'm a little less concerned that even though that activity near Nashville is coming south, if that's going to be a big severe weather threat, if it'll remain a little disorganized. This is likely to remain organized, at least according to the model, coming into northwest Alabama. And what we may be looking at here, if you kind of slice this in half, the northern half may be more just heavy rainfall, southern half may be a little bit more where the severe weather potential is. And that could include, at least the way this is being depicted as evolving, could be some strong wind gusts, maybe some large hail as well. So it's entirely possible that that little cluster that's developing in northwest Mississippi, most significant part of it, you see there the brighter colors, this is just south of our area. Marion, Winston County, not part of our coverage area, although we do talk about that, particularly if something's coming through there and is going to be moving on in. But in this case, may not be the situation. So some heavier rainfall moving towards I-65 by 3:30 in the morning. Severe weather threat may be more confined there to Winston County, Smith Lake, heading into that part of Coleman County, which again is just outside technically of our coverage area. And we continue to take you up towards 5 in the morning. Most of the development is going to be kind of trailing away from the leading edge of that cluster of storms, so kind of staying here just south of us. The activity coming in from the Nashville area continues to kind of peter out as we take you through the rest of tonight. So, I mean, if this is correct, we may not end up having a whole lot to worry about. But I don't want to say that, you know, we're giving you the all clear. Models are guidance. They're not the gospel truth. They often get the details wrong. But again, this particular run, it's close to reality here at the very beginning. So, you know, it's one of those wait and see sort of things. Let me check the questions here. Is there still a tornado threat in the greater Huntsville metro? Joseph asking that, can I go to sleep? The threat's pretty low. And again, if the model's correct, Huntsville may only have some rain that comes through and nothing more significant than that. Again, we don't have a watch in place for North Alabama. There's no talk of one at the time being. It doesn't mean that one won't be issued here maybe in the next hour or two. But there's not a lot of talk about it right now. And I think that's because there's some uncertainty as to just what sort of severe weather threat may materialize here in North Alabama. So again, don't want to give you the all clear. If you do go to sleep, believe me, I want to go to sleep, but I'm going to be here. I'm going to be watching. If you do go to sleep, just make sure you have a way to get weather alerts. NOAA Weather Radio, the Way 31 Storm Tracker weather app, you can set that up to send alerts. And obviously, if there's a significant severe weather situation, even if you don't have something set up to give you alerts, a specific app or weather radio, you know, you're going to get those wireless emergency alerts, and you can't really turn those off if there's something real significant coming on through. Ashley said, just hopping on, what's it look like now for Lincoln County? Again, we're watching stuff up towards Nashville that's kind of slowly building south, but nothing that's too crazy at this point. But there's still that possibility we could get some severe weather overnight. So I don't want to say that we will not. I would say that the confidence level has kind of come down a little bit from earlier today as to our severe weather threat. But again, I'm not going to give you the all clear, because as soon as I do that, I'll be proven wrong, because I've learned that lesson over my time doing this. So with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap things up. But again, know that I'm not going anywhere. We're going to be here. We're going to be keeping an eye on it. Obviously, we'll provide updates if we get any sort of watch that comes out, if we start to get any sort of warnings that come out as well. We're going to be here covering it. Anything that would necessitate us to jump on air on the TV side of things, we'll be there as well. Hopefully that won't be necessary. Again, I'm a little bit more feeling a little bit better about that we're not going to have a ton of severe weather to track overnight tonight, so that's a good feeling to have. And hopefully that's the way it kind of works out. But again, want you to stay weather aware. We're going to be here watching it until we're completely confident that any sort of potential or threat has come to an end. Just be safe. Like I said, make sure that you have a way to get weather alerts, and we'll keep you updated as necessary overnight tonight. And I hope this turns out kind of the way Future Radar is saying, which means may not be a whole lot that we're going to have to deal with. But I'll go ahead and we're going to flip off the live here, but we will be back on, of course, with any updates as we need to. Hope you all have a great and safe rest